Welcome back to LMJ English, where we help you learn, grow, and succeed through powerful English stories. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story that could change your life. Why English became the global language. Once upon a time, in the windswept hills and rainy villages of a small island called England, there lived a language that no one outside its shores paid much attention to. It was called English. At that time, English was not mighty. It was not international. It was not important. It was just English. Spoken by farmers, fishermen, and village folk, it quietly existed while the world listened to other, far more powerful voices. Across the seas, Latin ruled in the mighty Roman Empire. Greek echoed through grand halls of science and philosophy. Arabic flowed like poetry in markets and mosques from the Middle East to North Africa. Chinese characters painted the pages of literature, law, and diplomacy in the East. These were the languages of power, religion, wisdom, and trade. English, by comparison, was like a quiet child in a room full of giants. But as history teaches us, even the quietest voice can one day change the world. Something began to shift in the 1600s. England, though small in size, began to grow in ambition, and with that ambition came a mighty force, its navy. With wooden ships and white sails, England set out across oceans, seeking new lands, new riches, and new power. They didn't just visit places. They stayed. They built colonies and governments. They planted flags, and wherever the British Empire went, the English language followed, from the bustling streets of Mumbai in India to the sunburnt landscapes of Australia, from the gold-rich lands of South Africa to the growing towns of America. English began to spread. It was taught in schools. It was used in courts. It was written in contracts and spoken in official meetings. And even after these countries fought for and won their independence, English stayed behind, not as a conqueror, but as a practical tool. It had become the language of opportunity, education, and power. Still, the journey of English wasn't over. In fact, the most dramatic chapter was about to begin. In the mid-20th century, the world was shaken by the most devastating conflict in human history, World War II. Cities crumbled. Economies collapsed. Europe, once the center of global power, was left scarred and weakened. But across the Atlantic, one nation stood tall and strong, the United States of America. Unlike the countries of Europe, America had not been destroyed by war. Its factories were booming. Its economy was growing. Its influence was rising. And in the years that followed, the United States stepped onto the world stage as a new superpower, leading in politics, business, science, and entertainment. And with America's rise came the second great wave of English. English was now not just the language of the British Empire. It became the language of Hollywood films, pop songs, scientific journals, international trade, and political negotiations. If the 1800s belonged to Britain, the 1900s belonged to America. And both chapters were written in English. So what began as a local tongue spoken on a rainy island became the global voice of progress. From empire to entertainment, from colonial rule to internet rule, English found its way into every corner of the world, not by accident but through a powerful mix of history, war, ambition, and innovation. And that is how English, once an invisible language, became the one language almost everyone on earth now wants to learn. Reasons for English's ongoing dominance: global currency, business, and the power of the dollar. After World War II, the world was hungry for stability. Countries were rebuilding, economies were restarting, and people were hoping for peace. In the middle of this global transformation stood the United States, a country that had not only survived the war, but had grown stronger because of it. Its factories were producing at full speed. Its banks were full. Its industries were leading the world. And soon one thing became very clear. The American dollar was becoming the heartbeat of the global economy. But why does money matter when we talk about language? Because wherever money goes, communication must follow. And in this case, the language that carried the power of money was English. After the war, the dollar became the world's most trusted and widely used currency. When countries bought oil, they paid in dollars. When international companies did business, they calculated profits in dollars. When governments traded goods or lent each other money, it was usually through the dollar. This financial system pulled the whole world into a new economic network, and at the center of that network was English. Imagine a Japanese company trying to strike a deal with a German company, or an investor in Brazil buying stocks in a tech startup from India. What language do they use to communicate? English. Not because it was anyone's native language, but because it was everyone's shared language. It became clear, if you wanted to be part of the global economy, if you wanted to start an international business, or if you dreamed of working for a global company, you had to speak English. It wasn't just a language anymore. It was a ticket, a tool, a necessity. This is why so many schools around the world made English a mandatory subject. It's why parents, even in small villages, started saving money for English classes. It's why business professionals enrolled in evening English courses after long workdays, because they knew deep down that English was the language of opportunity. And the door to opportunity often came with a dollar sign on it. In the New World Order shaped by America's economic strength, English became the universal language of business, trade, and finance. And just like that, one more layer was added to its global power. Entertainment, pop culture, and the rise of Hollywood. Imagine this. It's a quiet evening in a small town somewhere far from the United States. A family gathers around the television. On the screen is a Hollywood movie filled with drama, laughter, and unforgettable characters. They might not understand every word, but they're captivated. The music, the storytelling, the excitement, it's all in English. And slowly, without even realizing it, they start learning the language of the stars. This scene didn't just happen once, it happened millions of times, all around the world. Because after the rise of America's economic power came something even more irresistible, its cultural power. In the 20th century, the United States became the global capital of entertainment. Hollywood transformed from a quiet suburb of Los Angeles into the dream factory of the planet. The biggest movies, the most iconic actors, and the most memorable stories were all coming from one place, and they all spoke English. But it didn't stop with movies. American music filled the airwaves. From jazz to rock and roll, from pop to hip-hop, the voices of American singers became the soundtrack of the world. Teenagers in Japan sang along with Britney Spears. Fans in France memorized every word of Michael Jackson's songs. Young people in Brazil danced to the beats of Beyoncé, Drake, and Eminem. Television followed the same path. Sitcoms like Friends, dramas like Breaking Bad, and countless reality shows spread across the globe. Streaming platforms like Netflix and YouTube made it even easier. And what language dominated all of it? English. Here's the fascinating part. People weren't learning English because they had to. They were learning it because they wanted to, because they wanted to understand their favorite movie quotes, because they wanted to sing along without mumbling the lyrics, because they wanted to connect with something bigger, something exciting and global. Entertainment made English feel cool. It made it desirable. It made people dream in English. And in doing so, English became more than the language of business. It became the language of dreams, fame, and fun. It wasn't forced into classrooms anymore. It was invited into living. Rooms, headphones, and hearts. So while money gave English its power, movies and music gave it a soul. And that combination? It was unstoppable. The Internet revolution and digital English. Close your eyes and imagine a world without the Internet. No Google, no YouTube, no social media, no online shopping, no digital maps, no instant messaging. It's hard to picture, isn't it? Because today the Internet is part of everything we do, how we learn, work, play, and connect with others. But here's a truth that often goes unnoticed. The Internet was born in English. When the first websites were created in the early days of the digital age, they were built by American programmers and universities. The language used to design the web, the commands typed into machines, the error messages, and even the first search engines, all of them were in English. It wasn't a decision. It was simply a reflection of who created it. But that single fact shaped the entire future of how we communicate online. Fast forward to today, and over 50% of all content on the Internet is still in English. The world's biggest tech companies, Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, all began in English-speaking countries. Their websites, their apps, their instructions and help centers, all designed with English at the core. Let's take a moment to think about how deeply this affects our daily lives. When you search for answers to a question, what language gives you the most results? When you open your phone's settings or download a new app, what language is it in by default? When a new trend goes viral on TikTok or Instagram, what language is used in the hashtags? More often than not, the answer is English. This digital dominance has reshaped what it means to be connected in the 21st century. If you want to learn something new, how to fix your car, bake a cake, build an app, or invest in stocks, the best and fastest answers are usually found in English. If you want to create a YouTube channel, start an online business, or become a freelancer, speaking English gives you access to a global audience and global clients. And the Internet doesn't care where you live. Whether you're in a cafe in Nairobi, a library in Hanoi, or a bedroom in Buenos Aires, the moment you open your laptop or unlock your phone, you're stepping into a digital world built on English. This is why more and more people see English not just as a school subject, but as a digital life skill. It's like knowing how to use the Internet itself. Without it, you're limited. With it, you can go anywhere. So in the age of information, where screens are the new streets, English is the language of the digital world. And as the digital world grows stronger every day, so does the power of English. Science, innovation, and global knowledge in English. Imagine a brilliant scientist in Brazil who has just discovered a life-saving medicine, or a talented engineer in India designing a new type of clean energy, or a medical researcher in Egypt developing a breakthrough treatment for a rare disease. Now ask yourself, how do they share their discoveries with the world? The answer is almost always the same. They publish in English. In today's world, English is not only the language of money, movies, and the Internet, it is also the language of science, medicine, and technology. Whether you're a doctor, a software developer, a researcher, or a university student, knowing English is often the key to accessing and contributing to global knowledge. Let's go back in time a bit. For centuries, different parts of the world led different scientific eras. Greek in philosophy, Arabic in astronomy and mathematics, Latin in medicine. But in the modern age, especially after the rise of the United States as a scientific superpower, English became the new universal language of discovery. Today, the most important research papers are written in English. The top medical journals, engineering manuals, and science magazines all use English. The world's most prestigious universities, Harvard, Oxford, MIT, Stanford, teach their most advanced programs in English. If a researcher wants their work to be recognized, if a student wants to study abroad, if a professional wants to stay updated with the latest discoveries, they must understand English. And this doesn't stop in classrooms or labs. The biggest tech companies, Google, Microsoft, Tesla, SpaceX, all operate in English. The programming languages that developers use to build websites, apps, and artificial intelligence systems are written in English. Even the most cutting-edge tools of our time, like machine learning, robotics, and biotechnology, are documented and discussed in English. What does this mean for people around the world? It means that someone in Vietnam can learn coding from a YouTube video made in California. A student in Kenya can take an online course from MIT. A young inventor in Indonesia can join a global startup by mastering English and sharing ideas online. It means that knowledge has no borders, but the language that unlocks it is English. So if you're passionate about science, curious about technology, or hungry to solve real-world problems, learning English isn't just helpful, it's essential. Because in the world of innovation, English is the passport to possibility. Military, politics, and global leadership in English. Now picture this: world leaders gathering at a long table in a grand hall. Flags from dozens of nations surround them. Cameras flash. Voices speak into microphones. Decisions are being made about peace, security, trade, climate, and the future of humanity. But among this global choir of languages, one voice unites them all. And that voice is English. English is not just the language of business and science. It is also the language of international politics, diplomacy, and global power. After World War II, the United States didn't just rise economically, it stepped into the center of global leadership. And with it, English became the voice of global institutions. The United Nations, one of the most important international organizations in the world, uses English as one of its official languages. Documents, speeches, peace treaties, and urgent resolutions, many of them are written and delivered in English. It doesn't stop there. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, a powerful military alliance of over 30 countries, operates primarily in English. When military leaders from different countries plan missions, conduct briefings, or share intelligence, they do it in English. Why? Because it ensures clarity, unity, and understanding across nations. Even at high-stakes summits, like the G7 or the World Economic Forum, leaders from all corners of the world often speak English or use English interpreters. It's the common ground where global conversations take place. But what about individual countries? In many places, political leaders use English to communicate with international audiences. Presidents, prime ministers, and diplomats often deliver speeches or write articles in English, not just to be understood, but to be heard on a global stage. Because in today's world, Speaking English isn't just about language, it's about influence. Think of it this way. If you want to lead in a global conversation, you must speak the global language. And for now, that language is English. For young people dreaming of a career in international relations, government, or human rights, English is no longer optional. It's the key to attending global conferences, joining international organizations, and helping shape the future. So whether you want to become a peace negotiator, a UN ambassador, or simply a citizen of the world, English is your microphone. And with it, your voice can reach every corner of the earth, the global language of the modern world. Now let's take a step back and look at the journey we've just traveled together. It began on a rainy island where English was once the language of fishermen and farmers. And today it is the language that connects presidents and pilots, scientists and students, artists and entrepreneurs. How did this happen? It wasn't magic. It was history. English rose with the ships of the British Empire, sailed across continents, and planted itself in schools and governments. Then, like a second wave, it rode on the back of American influence, powered by dollars, dreams, and discoveries. Business deals were signed in English. Hollywood movies were filmed in English. Songs were sung, stories were told, and websites were coded in English. It became the voice of opportunity, the key to careers, the bridge between cultures. Even though languages like Mandarin Chinese and Spanish have more native speakers, no language is more useful, more global, or more essential than English. Why? Because it's the language of money and business, where deals are made and careers are built, movies and music, where stories and dreams come to life. The Internet, where information flows and the world connects. Science and technology, where ideas become inventions. Politics and peace, where leaders shape the world. English is not just a language, it is a global tool. It opens doors, it unlocks knowledge, it empowers people to rise beyond borders, beyond limitations, beyond fear. So if you're learning English, today you are not just memorizing vocabulary or grammar. You are learning a life-changing skill, a tool that millions before you have used to escape poverty, travel the world, start businesses, create art, heal the sick, and build the future. And the most beautiful part, this story is not over. In fact, you are now part of it. Because every time you learn a new word, every time you practice a sentence, every time you listen, read, speak, or write, you are stepping into the global stage. The world is big, but with English, you can go anywhere. The present and future of English. We live in an extraordinary time, a time when a teenager in a small village can learn coding from a laptop, when a nurse in Kenya can watch a medical tutorial from Harvard, and when a designer in Vietnam can work for a company in London without ever leaving home. What connects them all? English. In the present day, English is not slowing down. It's not fading. In fact, it's growing stronger than ever. Right now, more than 1.5 billion people, that's nearly 1 in 5 human beings on Earth, are learning English. In classrooms, on phones, through videos, apps, podcasts, books, and games. From busy cities to quiet mountain towns, people are waking up to a powerful truth. English is not just a language anymore. It's a life skill. In the past, knowing English was considered a bonus. Today it's seen as a basic requirement. Parents encourage their children to learn English not just for school, but for survival in a competitive world. Young professionals work late into the night practicing pronunciation, not for fun, but for a better future, because they understand Knowing English means unlocking opportunity. And in our digital age, that opportunity begins with the internet. Think about it. Every time you open a browser, download an app, search for something online, or scroll through social media, you're entering a world built in English. More than 50% of websites are in English. The most popular platforms, Google, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all operate primarily in English. Even viral trends, memes, and challenges that spread like wildfire across countries often start in English. When people post videos on TikTok or YouTube, they often use English captions or hashtags, not because it's their native language, but because they want to be seen by the world. English has become the digital passport of the modern world. If you want to join the biggest conversations, learn the most up-to-date skills, or market your talent globally, you need to speak the language that runs the digital world, and that language is English. But now comes a question that many people ask: could another language take over? Let's look at the top contenders. Chinese Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world by native speakers. China's economy is massive, and its global influence is growing. But there's a challenge. Chinese is extremely hard to learn. Thousands of characters, complex tones, and difficult grammar make it a tough mountain to climb. Even China itself is investing heavily in English education. Why? Because they understand that to connect with the world they need English, not the other way around. Spanish is beautiful and widely spoken, especially in Latin America and parts of Europe. But outside of these regions, it loses its power. Spanish speaking. Countries themselves prioritize English in schools and businesses because they know that English connects them to the rest of the world. What about AI translation? Tools like Google Translate and AI-powered earbuds are becoming more advanced. Could they make language learning unnecessary? Not quite. Yes, AI can help you understand and communicate, but it cannot replace human connection. In business, science, diplomacy, and education, people still prefer to use one common language to avoid misunderstandings and build trust. And that language is English. AI might assist, but it won't replace the need for a shared global language, especially one that's already deeply woven into every part of modern life. So what does the future look like? It looks more connected, more digital, more global. And in every scenario, jobs, travel, learning, socializing, English continues to grow, adapt, and thrive. It may evolve, becoming simpler or more flexible, but it will not disappear. If anything, it will become even more essential, and that's good news, because learning English today means you are preparing for the future, a future full of possibilities. A future where borders don't matter as much as your ability to connect. And English gives you that power. How English can change your life. Let's take a moment to imagine two versions of the same person. In one version, they live with ambition and talent, but only speak their native language. They want to grow, travel, explore, and build a better life. But every time they take a step forward, a wall appears. A job application says, English required. A travel dream fades because they can't communicate abroad. A new course looks amazing, but it's only in English. They feel frustrated, trapped, not because they aren't smart or hard-working, but because their voice can't reach far enough. Now imagine the second version. This person is the same in every way, same dreams, same determination, but this time they speak English. Suddenly that wall disappears. They apply for international jobs, they get interviews with global companies. They work online with clients in Canada, Australia, the UK. Their income grows, sometimes double or even triple, just because they now speak the language of opportunity. And this isn't a fantasy, it's a reality that millions of people are living today. In many countries, people study for years, engineering, medicine, law, only to find they can't get the job they want because they don't speak English. Meanwhile, someone with a laptop, an internet connection and strong English skills can earn money from anywhere in the world. They can freelance, teach, build a brand, open a business, all because they understand the global language. English gives you something money can't always buy: freedom. Freedom to choose your job, freedom to work from anywhere, freedom to speak your truth and be understood across borders. And it's not just about work, it's also about living boldly. Ever wanted to travel the world, walk the streets of Paris, stand under the bright lights of Times Square, explore the markets of Dubai or the temples of Kyoto? With English, that becomes possible. When you land at an airport, English signs guide your way. Hotel staff greet you in English. If you get lost, a simple "Can you help me?" opens doors. English turns the world into your neighborhood. But perhaps the greatest gift English offers is access to knowledge. Dream of being a doctor? The most advanced research is published in English. Want to become a YouTuber? The top tutorials are in English. Interested in business, design, music, or marketing? The best mentors, books, and courses, all in English. In fact, over 90% of the world's knowledge is stored in English. If you can read it, you can learn it. If you can learn it, you can change your life. And as you continue this journey, sentence by sentence, word by word, something else begins to happen. You stop feeling small, you stop feeling limited, you start to feel powerful, because now you can understand, you can express yourself, you can grow, reach out and belong anywhere. English gives you confidence, it gives you independence, it gives you wings. So yes, English is just a language, but for those who master it, it becomes a life-changing skill. And the best part, you don't need a perfect accent, you don't need big words, you only need one thing: the will to learn, the courage to keep going, the belief that every word you practice is an investment in your future. Your journey with English begins now. You've now seen the truth. English is not just a subject in school. It is the voice of the modern world. It is the language of global business, the rhythm of music and movies, the foundation of science and technology, and the bridge between cultures, countries, and opportunities. But most importantly, English is your key. It can unlock doors you never thought possible. A better job, a university scholarship, a remote career, a dream to travel, a new business idea, a chance to be heard. So now the question is not, is English important? The question is, what will you do with this power? You see, millions of people around the world are already on this journey. In crowded cities and quiet villages, people are waking up early or staying up late, whispering words into mirrors, repeating sentences from videos, listening to audiobooks while walking, typing essays, texting in English, even if it's just one line a day. Why? Because they believe in the future they're building. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it takes time. Yes, you will make mistakes. But remember this, every fluent speaker once started just like you, with doubt, with fear, with broken grammar and unsure pronunciation, but they didn't give up, and neither should you. Because one day you'll watch a movie in English and understand every word. You'll sit in an interview and answer questions with confidence. You'll Meet someone from another country and laugh, connect, and share your story. One day you'll look back and realize that learning English was not just about learning a language. It was about transforming your life. So here's your challenge, my friend. Start today. Read, listen, speak, and write in English every single day. Don't wait for perfect. Just begin. Celebrate your progress. Learn from your mistakes. Keep going. Because the day will come when English opens the door you've been knocking on, and when it does, you'll be ready. Your journey begins now. And the future? It speaks English. If you enjoyed this story and want more powerful content, like this, share, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to LMJ English. Your support gives us the energy to bring you more inspiring and valuable stories every day. Below are 20 key vocabulary words, phrases that appeared repeatedly throughout the story, along with clear and concise English explanations to help you understand and remember them. Global language, a language that is used and understood by people in many countries around the world for communication. Opportunity, a chance to do something that can lead to success or progress, such as getting a better job or education. Freedom, the ability to act, move, or live without being limited. In the story, English gives people the freedom to travel, work, and grow. Communication, the act of exchanging information through speaking, writing, or other methods. English is a major tool for global communication. Digital world, the modern world where many activities, learning, working, socializing, happen online or through technology. Knowledge, information, understanding, and skills gained through education or experience. Most of the world's knowledge is stored in English. Power, the ability to influence, lead, or create change. The story explains how English holds power in business, politics, and media. Success, the power, achievement of goals or positive outcomes. English is presented as a key to personal and professional success. Influence, the ability to affect people or decisions. English gained global influence through history, media, and technology. Economy, the system of money, trade, and jobs in a country or the world. English became important due to its role in the global economy. Technology, tools, machines, or systems created to solve problems or improve life. Much of it is built and shared. In English, innovation, the creation of new ideas, products, or ways of doing things, discussed in the context of science and English as a tool for innovation. Business, commercial activity or work that involves buying and selling. English is the main language used in international business. Connection, the link or relationship between people or things. English connects people across countries and cultures. Learning, the process of gaining knowledge or skills. Learning English is shown as a lifelong transformative journey. Confidence, believing in yourself and your abilities. Speaking English gives learners confidence in global situations. Motivation, the reason or desire to do something. The story uses emotional encouragement to keep learners motivated. Limitations, things that hold someone back or restrict them. The story explains how not knowing English can limit opportunities. Growth, the process of becoming better or stronger. Learning English leads to personal and professional growth. Skill, the ability to do something well, often developed through practice. English is called a life skill, not just a school subject.